Hello and welcome to this episode of Cosmic Crow Tarot, where if you can't tell by the pumpkins, it's time to talk about Halloween and spooky season and the time season of the witch. And I've got not one, but two different decks to share with you today. It's one Oracle and one Tarot. And you know, Halloween has always been my favorite holiday. Ever since I was little and I had that excuse to dress up, go around and beg for candy. Come on, who doesn't love that? But it's so much more than that to me. It's about, connecting with our ancestors, connecting with our loved ones that have passed on, and, embracing that spooky, spiritual, kind of witchy energy that has just always lived inside of me for as long as I can remember, even past lives and everything. I think I've had part of this. So the first deck we're going to be talking about and looking through is Stacey DeMarco's Halloween Oracle. Now, I've not always been a fan of Oracle decks, but the more I get into the tarot, the more I get into this divination, the more I am loving the oracles. Like when I do face-to-face readings, or even when you book a reading with me online, remote way, written or video, I will have the Oracle deck there too. You get that message, you get that meaning from that, and I love how it just pulls all the messages together, like that big important message from the powers that be that you need to hear. So when I saw that there was a Halloween Oracle, I was like, dude, I have to add this to my collection. I need it. So here it is. Here is the back of the box, and there it says on the back, there's a lot of words here, we'll go through it. It says, unleash your inner monster and trick-or-treat your way into a connection with the most magical and scary night of the year, Halloween. Festivals of the dead, like Halloween, have been celebrated for thousands of years across many different world cultures. They serve to honor those who have passed and to celebrate death as a natural part of life and an opportunity to welcome in a new beginning. During Samhain, the ancient Celtic festival from which Halloween originates, the veil between this world and the next was believed to be at its thinnest, and so since the very beginning, Halloween has been an occasion for effective and potent divination, a chance to connect with the other side or get a glimpse into your future. Now you can harness the eerie power of Halloween every night of the year, encountering black cats, vampires, zombies, witches, werewolves, jack-o'-lanterns, skeletons, mummies, and characters from the Mexican Day of the Dead tradition, including Lady de la Muertos, exquisite candy skulls, and more. Each of the 36 richly illustrated cards has an accompanying meaning in the guidebook that features rhyming couplets like those used in ancient storytelling, as well as a message of divination for you're based on an aspect of Halloween tradition. So there's a lot in this deck, and I love when the oracle decks and stuff come with the books, because it's not structured as much as the tarot, and that's what I love so much about the tarot. Every illustration is different, but every deck is different with a different illustration, but that's it gives you more power, more things to talk about. Oracles, there is no structure to it. It's different. Every single deck is different, and so I'm really excited to add this one. We're gonna get the scissors out so I can make a little snip right here so we can get the box open and see what the cards look like. And as always, I will put a link in the description below where you can purchase this deck for your own collection. And also, if you have not watched my previous year top however many cards, or rather decks for Halloween, I've got at least 2 of those videos, and I will link them down in the description below as well if you want to check them out. But these are the newest ones. I don't need to keep repeating making the same ones. So maybe in an upcoming video I will do all of them at once, but they're there if you want to watch them. This deck is not wanting to come out of the plastic, there. We finally got it. I had to complain a little bit about it, but there we have the deck, the box, keeping the deck nice and safe. And I don't know if you can, you can see those there. You've got the pumpkins, you've got the ghost, you've got the bat, you've got the cat, you've got the broom, you've got the hat. I'm starting to wonder, crows are always affiliated with Halloween and like fall and everything like that. And I'm finding less and less of them available. Like, it's not even on the box here. There might not be one of those in the deck or anything, and they're spooky too. That's why I love them. One of the many reasons I love them. But here is the deck. We've got it right there, and I'm going to go through each of the cards so you can see them. Let's scoot our little pumpkins out of the way and go right into that first card right there. There's no numbers or anything on them, so you can't have that little safety net on it where you're like me and it's like, oh, the first card, 1, that's the magician, and you can relate it to it. But no, No, this has a little message down here, and it says ancestors and the lore, love and legacy of our DNA. So it's that blood that flows through our veins. Like we said, you know, past lives, the ancestors that came before us, the loved ones and everything, you know, they're still part of us. And this time of year, Halloween and stuff, is that time we can connect with them the most, because that magic is more alive than usual. The backs are those the same that the box had. There you see that. So you can easily like reverse it if you want to. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but you know, you could if you want, so you don't know if it's upright or reverse. There is Apple, which is risk and reward. Beautiful illustration. It kind of reminds me of Snow White, with that heart shape and everything there. Prince Charming. Beautiful illustration though. All of these seem to be really, really gorgeous. There is the Barmbrack. I've never heard that word before, but hey, again, that's where that guidebook is going to come in, and we'll get a look at that when we're through the cards. There it's sweetness and synergy. Synergy is, you know, energy, but combined with more than one, becoming more powerful, more magical. So that's an awesome card, really. Black Cat is next. It seems these are in alphabetic order. You know, next time you shuffle it, the first time you shuffle it, that will not be the case anymore. But there's fortune meets opportunity, followed by synergy and healing, which is the cauldron. You know, we're better together. Combine our energy there, you know, and feel powerful. There is that illustration, followed by dawn, which is the light after the darkness. There is that owl, beautiful illustration again. I like the fact that it has that daylight and everything, saying it's kind of like hope and promise that things will get better. Death is the next card, and there's one of those death moths. I do not remember exactly what it's called, but it's like the image that you see on the movie screen, the movie trailer or whatever for The Silence of the Lambs, that illustration there. And the eternal cycle begins here. You know, if someone drew that card, they'd be kind of freaked out. But as I always say when the death card comes up, and I do it all creepy and stuff, it's, you're gonna die. Are not that enthusiastic, but they're like, oh, really? And I say, yeah, eventually. So that's probably what I'll do with that card too. But I like the fact that that even the moon looks like a skull. So that's really cool. Eternal love. Love is love is love. Love is love is love, and it transcends physical death. There is that illustration. I love that. I love the skulls and everything there. You know, even after life, you still have those connections, those relationships, that the love is eternal. Beautiful. Forgiveness is reducing burden. You know, forgive yourself, forgive the people that might have harmed you. You know, find forgiveness within, and you can feel calm and at whole and at peace. So that's a beautiful illustration. For forgiveness is followed by ghost, which is regret. You know, those ghosts, the things that haunt us from our past. So that's a really cool illustration. I like that one as well. You know, beautiful. I love all illustrations, really. They're really fun, and they give you like more information and everything. Graveyard is unnecessary fear. So, you know, the things we can't control, death perhaps, why fear it? It's going to come for all of us eventually anyway, so enjoy our time while we're here. So I love that illustration right there, kind of reminding us, you know, that a lot of our fears are unnecessary. Hearth is happiness in our hearts and homes. You've got that illustration right there. And there's a little like gargoyle up there. That's really cool. Just the artwork in this deck is so pretty. It's so gloomy and dark, you know, Halloween, spooky, kind of creepy. But it's so magical and so beautiful in its own way. Invisibility is authenticity. You know, stop being invisible. Be your true self. Be authentic to who you are, and you can inspire others to be authentic too. Beautiful illustration again. Jack-o'-lantern is protection. I never really saw a jack-o'-lantern as protection, but now I guess I see it. You know, you have that thing. It's like that, holding that safety out there, that you know, you guard your house from all the negative spirits and things like that. So that's a cool illustration, reminding me and maybe you that we have to carve pumpkins. Yes. Joy is rejoicing in the present. You know, appreciate the present moment. Always appreciate the present moment, because the present moment, as they say, is the only moment we truly have. So beautiful illustration there. It kind of reminds me of Stevie Nicks a little bit. I don't know why. Lady de los Muertos is next, and it's acceptance and equality. You know, accept yourself. See everyone as equal. Appreciate one another. You know, our differences are what makes us special, but at the end of the day, we're all human, just trying to live our best lives. That's a beautiful illustration again. The lamp is remembrance. You know, remember those loved ones that have passed on. Remember our pasts and learn from them as well. There's the jack-o'-lantern in the thing, and then the actual lamp. So again, cool illustration there. Midnight is the most magical hour of all. Midnight is usually when I'm starting to get tired and ready to go to sleep. You might be too, or you might already be asleep. Or maybe you're one of those people like my husband that is able to stay awake till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Not happening. But I love that illustration. It's got cosmic kind of energy there, like the galaxy and everything, part of it. You know, that connection to something else. Mummy is change. There is that illustration. That is downright creepy, and I love it. Like that sun or moon in the background. That's really cool. In the pyramids, it looks so realistic, doesn't it? That's another thing about this deck and the illustrations. Like, it's not just whimsical. I mean, there's kind of a whimsy here, but it's not just like cartoons. It's very realistic. Like, there is the cardinal and night song with hidden talents, and it just looks like it's a painting. You can tell, but it looks so realistic. It's awesome. Owl is wise seeing, use wise action. There is that illustration. So there's two different owls in this deck. We've already gone past the C, and I haven't seen a crow, but hey, we still have the R. So hope there will be a Corvid in this deck. There is that illustration right there with the eyes and everything. Wise seeing, wise action. So owls always represent wisdom, right? One of my favorite people on Instagram, she and I are really good friends, is Wise Owl Tarot. So that kind of reminds me of her. I like that. Scrying is intuition, and you have the crystal ball right there. You have the crystals themselves. Is that a bone right there, and the candles and everything? So it says, trust your intuition, take that time to learn, to trust your inner voice so that you can like learn the secrets that you need and trust yourself. So I love that illustration. Skeleton is strength. And we went right past, there wasn't even an R, was it? O to S right there. So no raven either. So maybe crows and ravens and corvids are slowly getting out into the mainstream maybe, and not necessarily for Halloween. Personally, that's a little bit disappointing, but hey, it is what it is. Skeleton is strength right there. The thing I kind of weirded my husband out the other day, because I said it doesn't matter what any of us look like on the outside. On the inside, this is us. This is what we look like. So, see each other as equal. Find that strength, to just love who you are, despite, what others might think of you. Skull of darkness is blind spots. Blind spots are those things we don't understand, the things in our vision that we can't truly see. So that is a cool illustration. I'm a huge fan of skulls. So I like the skulls in this deck. Here's the skull of flowers, which is creating through the ashes, taking those painful past, the painful experiences, and creating something from it. I love this. This is like the energy of the Three of Swords to me, and that's how I see that card. And before the truth will set you free, it's going to piss you off. Before you find that place to be, you've got to lose the plot. You've got to create that plot. And we learn from those experiences of the past. We learn from what's been lost, the ashes of the past. We can create something, maybe even better than we ever had before. So I love that energy there. Skull of light follows skull of flowers. I had to check the name of the card again. There is that illustration, and it says illumination, face that darkness within. Be illuminated because you trust yourself. Skull of stars is next, and there is that illustration, and it's infinite possibilities. And there are infinite possibilities. Anything, if you believe in yourself, you can achieve anything. Spider is next. I love spiders. I think spiders are so awesome. We have one in our car. I named it Webelina. Sometimes you see it. It's a really, really tiny little spider. And she gets all the other insects out. She catches them in her little web. She lives in the mirror on the side, where you could call that, the one that hangs outside the door that I can't remember what it's called right now, that you fold in if you don't have enough space, that thing. And she makes a web out there, and she catches all the insects. So yeah, that reminds me of her. She's part of our community, and she's good at web weaving. So you have that illustration and that energy there that reminds us of Charlotte's Web. She kept, what was his name, Wilbur? She kept that pig alive, and it was her with the talent. But she wrote Special Pig or Some Pig, and they all thought he was cool. So that illustration there is just reminds me of a lot of stuff. Trick or treat is mischief and play right there. It's fun, just reminding us, how much fun it was to dress up as when we were children, going around and getting that candy. But I'm a personal fan of, I don't care how old you are. If you want to dress up for Halloween and celebrate it, do it. You might not be able to go out and get candy and stuff, but just allow that inner child to go out and have fun, Walk around in that witch costume or fortune teller costume or the alien costume, whatever costume you want to do, whatever you want to dress up of. Halloween is that opportunity to just be weird and proud of it, not care what anybody thinks. There is that illustration followed by the underworld. The underworld, there is the pomegranate reminding us, who was it? was it Persephone? Persephone and Hades connected right there. I think that's what we're doing. Where all things pause and begin again. So you take that time, that infinite possibilities, all the things that, you have when you take that time to look within and face that darkness. Beautiful illustration. Again, vampire is emotional intelligence. That is a cool, creepy, beautiful illustration again. And then we have the veil. The veil is the future. And see, she's like blindfolded. So you have to take that veil up so that you can foresee what you want your future to be, because the future is not written. It's always up to chance and change. The cards can give you an idea. I can give you an idea, but it's up to you to make that happen. So you've got to clear that vision, focus on your passion, and, clear that veil from your mind and eyes. Werewolf is exploring wildness, embrace that weirdness, embrace that inner wolf, and trust yourself. Beautiful illustration. Again, I love the colors of this card. Winter is the sacredness of pausing, and there is that fall leaf that is all dead and floating away. Winter is that, it's like right after Halloween is over with November 1st coming. It's like, there it is. The trees have lost all their leaves. It's cold, well, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, for those of us that experience seasons. That kind of energy there, like, it's just depressing almost. It's like you wake up the day after Halloween and it's all just cold and miserable. Yeah. So that's kind of the sacredness of pausing. Nature pauses. We need to pause too. And that's the positive side of winter, I feel like, is, taking that time to rest and reflect and appreciate the fact that there's stillness. That's the thing that I love about snow the most. I'm not a fan of snow. I never have been, but I see the beauty in it, When snow falls and it covers that blanket, there is a silence to it. So appreciate winter as much as we can, I guess. The witch is the earthly weaver of the worlds. And that I love that fire and that flame and everything. That is a beautiful illustration and everything. Zombie is control, and that controls our deck. We've got all the illustrations right there, and there is that illustration. Again, I will admit, I'm highly disappointed there is no crow or raven or anything in this deck. That is very disappointing. As someone, Cosmic Crow Tarot with the raven tattoo on my back, everything about my whole business, my whole love and everything stems from these birds. Their intelligence, their darkness, they're just enjoying company together and everything. Like, they're so intelligent. They're so full of wisdom and light when we're able to see it. You feed them. They bring you gifts. They talk to you. They connect with you. They're such awesome animals, and they're black, They're dark. They work perfectly for Halloween, and here we are with the Halloween Oracle, and there's no crow or raven. So there is my little rant about that. Sorry about that. It's just, I share my opinions and stuff, and it's like, why did you leave out the raven or the crow? Okay, here is the guidebook. I've just opened randomly to scrying, so I'll read you what it says about scrying, so you get an idea of, how the guidebook works, and I get an idea as well. It says scrying and intuition. Soften your eyes, begin the trance, whole worlds are open, begin the dance. Scrying is the divination technique of seeing unconscious images or images from the divine or supernatural appear upon or within a surface. People scry into a crystal ball, a black mirror, water, even the surface of ice. It is a very ancient technique and one traditionally enacted on Samhain, Halloween. The keys to effective scrying are being as relaxed as possible, minimizing possible distractions, softening your gaze, and allowing. The enemy of effective scrying is distraction, both from inside and out. Turn off the phone, electric lights anywhere where you can see them, any music, and if you are scrying outdoors, take the time to settle into the environment and listen to all the noises so that your mind will not need to break your focus later. If you regularly meditate, you may wish to use those techniques, or otherwise you can simply shut your eyes and focus on slowing your breath. This is usually very effective. If you have a specific question for the scrying medium, state it up front. Then, once you feel relaxed, turn your focus inwards. Imagine pulling your energy within you and then focus on the third eye point, the chakra point on the center of your forehead, just above the eyebrows, and imagine opening it. Then gaze into a soft, unfocused way at your scrying surface and simply allow images to form and observe what presents itself to you. Do not engage your rational mind. This is about receiving, not thinking. Should you pull the scrying card, I suggest you try it for starters. It is also indicates that you may wish to develop your intuition further and not rely solely on the logical part of your mind for all the answers. True wisdom takes a balance of logic and imagination for true wisdom. So that's really cool that it gives you directions exactly how you should like try to scry and everything. So if that's something you want to do, you know, crystal balls are everywhere out there. Just take this awesome beauty, for example. I don't know if you could scry with this or not. It is purple fluorite. I got it. I have a really good friend that opened, he has his own crystal shop, and he had one of these, and, you know, he actually traded me a reading for this thing. So, you know, just enjoy how pretty it is. I've got a lot of crystal balls. Crystal balls are just so cool, and it kind of reminded me there when we were talking about you know, scrying. You could actually scry with this. You know, as I'm doing it, I'm just distracting myself right now. I'm playing with it like a cat, and it's so pretty to like watch it spin. But yeah, that's one of my scrying balls. I might try to scry with that sometime. Okay, as I said, you know, I have not one, but I actually have 2 different decks to share with you today. Here is the second one. It's the tarot one, and I am so excited about this deck. This is, I don't see the name on it there, but you know, the High Priestess right there. There it is. Turn it around. The RWS, aka the Rider-Waite Smith Halloween Tarot, featuring original art by Pamela Coleman Smith and altered by Matt Green. Matt Green is a really awesome tarot creator. He is the one behind the Divine and Play Tarot. The Divine and Play Tarot, I think I've done a video about it. I don't know if I have or not. But what it is playing cards. Like, they're really the size of playing cards, and they've got the different like clubs, you know, I can't think of it now, clubs, hearts, those kind of things right there. Spades, that's one of them too, right there on the cards, plus the major arcana. So you can literally play like rummy or poker or something with tarot cards, and it's one of the coolest decks I've ever seen. So we've got a little nick right there in our plastic so we can get the deck out. I'm so excited about this deck. You know, I actually made a joke a few weeks ago before I ordered it. I told my husband, I said, you know, I would love to have a Rider-Waite Smith deck that is Halloween based. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, like the High Priestess would be the witch. And, you know, the Death card would just have this creepy energy to it. And it's just like, it's whimsical and it's fun. And, you know, Halloween's the time that you really get like those tarot readings going and more people are interested. And it's just, you know, I wanted a deck like this on my table to choose from when it comes to getting a reading. And here it is in my hand. And it comes with this awesome box, even though it made it sound like when you ordered it, it's from Etsy, that when you ordered it, it wasn't coming with a box. So I was really excited when I saw that it actually came with a box. And it's one of those awesome magnet closer box too. So I don't have to like get all cool and creative when it comes to making a box, because they gave me a box. Okay, we're going to take the little sleeve off there. We're going to do one card at a time and remember, you know, this is Rider-Waite Smith based. So if you've seen the Rider-Waite Smith, if you've like seen the illustrations, you know what the Fool looks like and everything. So it's just like a different take on it, and it's so much fun. I'm just looking at this, like the front right here, and there you see the sides there. It's like the orange, the black of the back with the stars and everything. So kudos, Matt Green. And I saw that he also has a Christmas version like this, and I think I'm going to purchase that one too, because, you know, fun, whimsical, giving you, I always like when I do readings and stuff. I like when I'm doing the face-to-face ones at festivals and events and wherever will have me, honestly. I like having 3 different decks on the table to choose from, and I always want one of those to be a Rider-Waite Smith base, because, you know, that's the one everybody knows, that's the one everything is based on, you know, the original, you know, back over 100 years ago at this point. So when this deck is just so cool, we're just at the full. So, okay, we're fools for this deck for sure. At least I am. There is the Fool, you know, you've got the trick-or-treat thing, you've got the clown. Oh, it's just so cool. And the purple background. I love purple. You know, purple is my favorite color year round, but purple and orange, they just go so well together. This is so cool. And instead of a dog, though, we have a cat. So that makes that even better. I'm going to flip it over like that. So, you know, when we get done, the deck will go back together. There is the Magician. You know, you got the bats and everything, but the same kind of energy of the Magician is right there. As above, so below, and you have all the pieces right there. And if you look closely, like he's got like, you know, a bandage on his head. He almost looks like he could be a vampire. That kind of, yeah, maybe with the bats and everything. So, you know, whoever you are, you've got that magician power, my friends. Beautiful. Again, the High Priestess is the one that we saw on the box. There she is in all her witchy glory. Oh, this is beautiful. I love how they're so very much related. They're the minor or Rider-Waite Smith. Definitely. Like, there's the Empress, you know, it's very much the Empress that we all know and love, but it's creepy, it's weird, it's fantastic, and I'm freaking obsessed with it. So there is the Bride of Frankenstein with the Empress. So, of course, the Emperor is going to be Frankenstein. I love it. I love the energy of this deck. It's so similar to that of the Rider-Waite-Smith, but the Empress and the Emperor just so magical. So there is that illustration. Here is the Hierophant, who also looks like he could be a Frankenstein ghoul kind of guy. And oh, I can get my thoughts going about this. I'm not going to though. There is like the bowl of candy and trick or treat and stuff. So it's just very Halloween themed, and it's so funny. I think that's the best thing about it. It's just so weird. No one expects it. It's just so cool. I love this. Okay, the Lovers is next, and there are the two again, like Frankenstein kind of people. You see maybe corpses or something because they've got the stitches and stuff on them, and you've got the pumpkin right there in the center. It's just the coloring of this deck. It's so dark. It's so fun. I love it. Okay, what's next? Oh, it just keeps getting better. The Chariot, it's a headless horseman as he does it. Like, the thought process behind this deck. Matt Green, if you are watching this and you see this, kudos to you. You are incredible the way that your mind works. I love it. I love the inspiration that you are to the world. This is so cool. Yeah, I love the headless. This is probably my favorite card so far because it's just like downright weird. You know, even if you don't have all the answers, even if it seems like your head isn't even on your shoulders, don't be afraid to take the Chariot out for a walk. Don't be afraid to try something new, because you can and will overcome the obstacles that stand in your way of finding the strength to find success. There is the Strength card. Oh, look, the lion's actually dressed up for Halloween. It has a little tutu on. It has little orange and black socks. How freaking cute is this deck? I love it. Okay, the Hermit is next. The Hermit has pumpkins around him as well. Beautiful purple robe and everything, and the star inside is orange. So again, Hermit energy, Rider-Waite-Smith energy. It does not get more fun than this. Wheel of Fortune is very, very cool. The dark and everything there, you know. There is the mask on the character right there as he goes around the wheel. The snake, the Sphinx dude, and like all the characters there reading their books and getting the knowledge and everything. It's just so cool. Justice is a jack-o'-lantern right there. So that is a really cool illustration. You know, just like when you think, you know, maybe you could have tried harder. No, the orange and the green and everything, it's gorgeous. I love this deck. The Hangman is next. And there he's even hanging out with a bat, because, you know, bats hang upside down too. So that's really cool. I love that. Death is next. And there, you know, Death, like I said, I wanted the Death card slightly creepier. It's kind of funny too. But the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin right there, instead of like the rose of purity, and still like the colors and everything, the dark, but what's cool, you know, Death is still Death. There's nothing like Halloween or pumpkin about him, because he's that way. He's spooky, he's creepy, he's wonderful every time of the year. So that is beautiful. Temperance is next. And what I find really, really interesting about Temperance is, look at that face. You see that face? The eyes and everything. It's so subtle, but it's so creepy. I love it. It's beautiful. You know, this is the card connected to Sagittarius. So that is my card. And yeah, if you look at me in pictures and stuff, I've got a creepy, weird face, expression on my face a lot of times too. So, I love it. Okay, the Devil follows Temperance in the Major Arcana, and there he is holding his little jack-o'-lantern of candy, and there is his little ghost friends down at the bottom. Prisoner to all that candy, all those vices and addictions, so that's really fun. What happens if you give in to those vices and addictions too much? Well, that's when the tower might come crashing down. There is the tower, and look at the top. The top is that pumpkin kind of thing right there. Oh, it's so cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. So there is that illustration. You know, when all hope is lost, though, you know, when the tower falls, that's when you find your star power. And there is the star, and the star is a ghost. That is just, I mean, I'm going to keep going on and on about how adorable, weird, and fun this deck is. So there is that card. I love that card. That's one of my favorite cards of the tarot, because it is, when all hope seems lost, the star is the hope to keep going, because that's when your hidden talents can be found. So it's absolutely beautiful illustration with the ghost and everything. The moon follows the star right there, and there's the moon is like half a jack-o'-lantern face, all smiling and weird, while the dog's wild dog and the domestic dog bark, and the lobster guy kind of thinks he can bark too. So that's a really fun illustration. Maybe not as fun though as the sun. Oh, look at that sun! How cool is this? I love the like character too, and his costume and everything. It says it doesn't matter how old you are. You know, Halloween's that time to be weird, be proud, and that's what that card is to me. It's gorgeous. Oh, I love this deck. I'm so happy it's here, so I can actually work with it for, you know, the next couple weeks, because I bought it in the middle of the month. So that was an issue. And if you're seeing this, and I put that link in the description below, if it's still available on Etsy, you know, you might not get it for this Halloween. You might not be able to work with it that much this Halloween, but there's always next year and the next year and the next year. So it's definitely one that I'm going to recommend to everybody. There's Judgment. Judgment is like a zombie character right there. We've all felt that way before, right? Bags under our eyes and everything, because just life is stressful. Forgive the past. Learn from the past, because that is the only way you can find the success of the world. And there is the world. The green woman with the witch hat and everything. Awesome, awesome illustration again. We are getting to the minor arcana now. So I'm going to set all of these right there, you know, the major arcana, and move to the suit of cups. There is the Ace of Cups with the bat instead of the dove. So very cool illustration right there. I love that. And even like the M and everything, that W reminding us, you know, Wednesday, actually, as I make this video, it was a Wednesday. But that Diagon energy just says, you know, whatever fills your heart with joy, whatever fills it up, whatever idea emotionally fulfills you, don't be afraid to go for it. Two of Cups is right there, and it's two ghosts, you know, two people that absolutely love Halloween and everything that it involves. So they're making that strong partnership together so they can, you know, maybe go on a business endeavor of making a Halloween store that's open year round. That should happen. I would love that. So there is that illustration. Three of Cups is celebrating with your friends, you know, a successful harvest, partying together and things like that. And that's three awesome witches who are definitely dancing to the beat of their own drum. You know, three is the number of creativity and creation itself, the Empress of the major arcana. So if you have a creative idea, it might be helpful to like talk to your friends about it. You know, celebrate those creative ideas, lift one another up. Look at the Four of Cups. The card of boredom. Yeah, see, that's all the candy that's been eaten. That's all the things that they no longer like find interest in. But here, this potential, there's a lot more candy, a lot more things to enjoy when they look up. So that is awesome. The Five of Cups is a very, very negative card to begin with, because it's the card of focusing on what's been lost and not seeing what remains. So there's not a whole lot changed in this illustration. We do have the bats, we have the lightning strike and everything, but it's still that same energy. And that's what I love about this deck so much, is the fact that that energy from the Rider-Waite-Smith that we all know and love is still here, but it's just that Halloween take on it. It's whimsical. It's fun. Just like there, the mummy handing it to the child, like the child mummy handing it to the child witch. You know, that nostalgia. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you like Halloween, celebrate it and show the world that you like it. So again, very awesome illustration. And I should say too that these cards are really thick. They're really, really good quality. I know like a lot of times like decks are flimsy and stuff. I know that's a big complaint with, say, the Light Seers Tarot, that the deck cardstock isn't that great, but this deck, it's very, very good. I don't know how to like show you better than that. But there is the Seven of Cups, and it's very, you see they've got the witch hat and everything on, but all of the cups still have that same energy that they usually do. So I like that little attention to detail that they just left it like that. That's cool. Eight of Cups is a ghost walking away from no longer serves him. There is that illustration. It's so random. It's so subtle. It's so much fun. I love it. And the backgrounds are all like the same, that dark, dusty purple. So that is a really cool nod right there. There's the pumpkin on his lap, the Nine of Cups of the Wish card of the tarot. You know, we've just changed a little bit. It's so cool. And there is the happy family, ghosts family right there. You know, the ones that are weird together and have fun together are the happy family. You know, whatever it looks like to you, it's a happy family. So that's really fun with the bats and everything in that illustration. Page of Cups. Page of Cups is next. And there's that character. And instead of, you know, a happy alive fish, she has a skeleton fish. So that's a cool little attention to detail and really fun. I like that as well. Knight of Cups, not Nine of Cups. Knight of Cups is right here. The soldier that follows his heart in everything that he does. You see there, his cup is empty. You know, he hasn't gotten the candy yet. He hasn't found what fulfills him yet, but he's going after it. So that is a really cool illustration. Queen of Cups. This is one of the reasons I wanted this deck, because this is one of the images that they shared. You know, this is part of the deck in there. I love that hand, that shadow, the opinions and the voices of others, the needs of our loved ones. That's what's keeping that thing closed for the Queen of Cups, because she's so focused on everybody else. And I just noticed that that's not actually an empty cup. That is a cup of candy. So that's really cool. She has all that candy, but here are all these other people taking that candy from her. So that's really awesome. I love that illustration. And then there is the King of Cups. There he is with his pumpkin. There he is with his empty cup. He's following his heart. He's letting his heart lead. Because, he's made time to listen to it, and he's found things that made his heart sing before. So there is that pumpkin. I want to see something. There is a pumpkin that's not quite carved yet, so he's done that. Are there a pumpkin there? No, he's not actually got a pumpkin there, but the Queen and King both have their pumpkins, and that kind of energy says, when you let your heart lead and you protect that heart, you can focus on whatever you want to make your whatever makes your heart sing, whatever you love. Think back to that jack-o'-lantern in the oracle deck. That's what's sticking in my head right now, is because that's that protection right there, so they connect to each other a little bit. Ace of Wands begins the suits of passion and fire, and there it is, very simple. Nothing really spooky about it, except there's a castle over there. I guess it gets spooky. Transylvania, maybe. But the colors and everything, again, it's so awesome. Just so whimsical and fun, and Rider-Waite Smithy with kind of Halloween-y at the same time. Just add E to anything and you can make it sound fun. There's the Two of Wands, the should I stay or should I go card, and there he's like looking at the pumpkin instead of the world. The Three of Wands is the ghost again, so there he is. He made his choice. He's got his hand on one wand, so he knows which choice he wants to make, and he's following that now. Four of Wands is the card of celebrating, a wedding or something like that, and that's strong foundation. And there's an open grave, and they're celebrating. So the strong foundation of Halloween itself. Celebrate it. Celebrate you. See yourself as that strong foundation. Again, I love just the randomness that is this deck. There is the Five of Wands, the card of other people's opinions, conflicting with our own immaturity and things like that, helping us, not to believe in ourselves. Change the mindset, be weird, be proud, focus on your own passion, and you can achieve it. Again, beautiful illustration with the zombie hands and everything coming up. Six of Wands is next. And instead of a wreath around that top wand, he's got a pumpkin, because it's Halloween and it's so cool. Other people celebrate you. You need to celebrate yourself first. I always love the Six of Wands as the card of celebrating your victories, no matter how small that might be. When you're true to yourself, you believe in yourself, you follow that passion, that inner fire, others start appreciating you too. But the first step is appreciating yourself. Seven of Wands is next, the card of defending what you're passionate about against the ones that don't believe in you. And also, I've always seen this card kind of as defending the underdog too, standing up for them as well. So that is a fun illustration with all the bats and everything. The Eight of Wands continues the energy of the bats. It's the only card of the tarot, I believe. It is, isn't it? That doesn't depict any people. Those wands are moving. You're going to find success because you've thrown them out there. You've thrown that idea. So that is a beautiful illustration that reminds us that our passions can take us far when we let them fly. Next is the Nine of Wands, the card of looking over your shoulder, wondering when the next shoe is going to drop because of all those experiences of the past, all the things that, might not have gone right. Makes you think the future is not going to be any better. It's going to be much of the same, but that's not true. Think hermit energy. Learn from those experiences of the past. Spend that time getting to know how awesome you are, and you absolutely can change and transform your life for the better and make it one you're passionate about. The Ten of Wands is the card of feeling overwhelmed by all those passions, and there is that ghost who has found so many passions that he's overwhelmed. So there is that illustration, followed by the Page of Wands. There he is in front of his pyramids. It's all dark, like he's all gray and everything. It's really cool. I love the fact that he's got the orange legs and everything, so it's like your passion can take you far. It's really fun illustration right there. The Knight of Wands has his jack-o'-lantern. He is protected, even though he's known for being flighty. Maybe that's why the Ten of Wands is the card of feeling overwhelmed, because you have too many passions, too many things that light your inner fire that you say gets distracted and you can't focus on you can't focus on just one at a time, and that's where the overwhelming feeling might come from. But the Knight of Wands, he's that soldier that follows his fire. And if we stay focused, We absolutely can become that Queen of Wands, the most creative queen of the court. There is that black cat that we saw with the Fool. Of course, that black cat is right there in the Rider-Waite-Smith illustration that Pamela Coleman Smith created all those years ago. That familiar, that pet that has our back and is interested in everything that we do. Mine, I have to keep the door shut because she would climb up on the table and knock everything off, because that's the kind of person or kind of cat that she is, the kind of familiar she is, kind of making chaos everywhere she goes, and I wouldn't trade her for anything. But there again is the Queen of Wands with that pumpkin again. This one is not carved. It's her creative endeavors that will carve it. So that's a fun illustration again. And then, of course, the Knight of Wands, the soldier that has been around the world. You know, he's a leader because he has the stories to inspire others. And there's the cat again. I like the fact they put the cat there along with the salamander. So that's even, you know, if you're a big bad man and you have a lot of like, you know, masculine qualities, you can still love cats. I love that. Ace of Swords would be next. I guess that means the Suit of Pentacles will be our final one. We'll get there when we do. There is the Ace of Swords, and there is a pumpkin hot air balloon. That is really fun. Two of Swords. There is that illustration, the card of indecisiveness, as I call it, and there's a pumpkin above her head that looks like a piñata. How fun is that? I love that. Okay, Three of Swords, the card of heartbreak and betrayal. Like I said earlier with the oracle deck I have over here on the right. Before the truth will set you free, it'll piss you off. Before you find your place to be, you got to lose the plot. That is a song called Mantra by Bring Me the Horizon. That's the chorus of it. And that card in there, I don't remember which card it was. The Ashes card, you know, create from the ashes. That's this card to me, and I love the fact that like it's a jack-o'-lantern too. That's so cool. The next illustration is the Four of Swords, the card of rest and reflection. You know, you want to create something, take that time to rest and reflect on that pain. There are the three swords, and the one there, you take that new idea and you run with it. And there is that mummy. Awesome. The next illustration is the Five of Swords, the victor or victim card, as I call it. And there, the victor is a demon. See his little horns right there? That's so cool. And the pumpkin and everything, like it's just, I love this deck. Six of Swords is the card of leaving behind the pain of the past and finding peace and harmony within, so we can find peace and harmony externally. The two ghosts are being led by a normal dude, wearing his normal clothes and everything, you know, the gondola or whatever, leading them to better times. So there is that illustration. There's the bats up in the top. The Seven of Swords is up next. The Seven of Swords also has little horns, which makes him a little demon. He's left two swords though, so maybe he's not that bad. The way that I've always seen the Seven of Swords, the thief card of the tarot, is, you know, that internal thief. The voices and opinions of the past, the people taking advantage of us, the people that might have stolen from us, causing us to causing our own minds to steal our confidence. So that's how I've always kind of seen the Seven of Swords, and that demon little thing right there kind of reminds you to embrace your inner demons, embrace who you are inside and out, love yourself despite the darkness, and really, you know, that way you can get behind your chariot. Seven, number of overcoming obstacles, the stand in your way of success. You know, get behind that wheel of that chariot and focus on where you want to go and what success you want to find. The Seven of Swords is followed by the Eight of Swords, which says, you know, you haven't done that. You haven't gotten by the behind the wheel. You haven't faced those inner demons because you feel like a prisoner. And you know, she is a prisoner to her life. She's a prisoner to her own mind. This was my stalker card for the longest time because, you know, I let my own mind fill me with doubt and anxiety. And when we do that, we never find success. When we let that doubt and anxiety fill us, then we lie awake at night worrying about the future, not letting those inner demons, you know, fill us with nightmares so we don't get that good night's rest. There's not much changed about this illustration. It's still dark. It's still negative. You know, that anxiety and worry keeping us from sleeping at night, keeping us from getting that good night's rest. So that in itself is spooky enough, right? So we haven't changed it. 10 of Swords is next, and there is the ghost, you know, the ghost of the past, feeling like, you know, all those swords are in our backs, that, you know, life hasn't been fair. So I like that little, the little ghost right there, kind of reminding us, you know, the ghost of our past can be the reason we feel like prisoners in our lives, the reason our minds can be working against us. But, you know, when we're able to leave that behind, we're able to learn from those experiences. That's when we gain useful information. And there is the Page of Swords, the card that I see as the card of useful information. And there he's like undead, right? So that is so cool. Like the illustrations and everything, they're just different, you know? There is the Knight of Swords, the one that enjoys chaos. He thrives on chaos. And there he is facing that past, facing even the future with confidence, because he's stolen back his confidence and he has what it takes to overcome whatever chaos he finds. He enjoys it. So there is that illustration. Queen of Swords, she is powerful because she's learned from her pain. She's ready to go trick-or-treating. She knows her worth. She knows what she wants. So she's going to dress up as whatever she wants to be and go trick-or-treating. It doesn't matter how old she is. So again, beautiful illustration. So similar to that of the Rider-Waite-Smith, yet so different at the same time. There is the King of Swords with his cat. It reminds me of Austin Powers and the bad guy in the Austin Powers movies, who always was like stroking his cat and petting it. And there, he's logical, he's rational, but he still has that pet cat asleep on him. So he's a good person. Beautiful. Again, Ace of Pentacles begins the next sequence, the final sequence in the Minor Arcana. There is the Ace with the pumpkins and everything, saying your ideas have potential. The Two of Pumpkins, or Pentacles, Two of Pumpkins. Sure, that would work, I suppose. Two of Pentacles is right there, and it is the Jack-o'-lantern having balance right there. As everything else is crazy, he's staying in control. The next illustration would be the Three of Pentacles, or Pumpkins, as I seem to want to call it now. And you have your there you have the card of collaboration. They're working together. Again, not much has changed here, just a little bit different of the colors. Working together, we're better together, focusing on the creations that we want to bring into life. Four of Pentacles has a spider hanging down. I already said my story about spiders. Charlotte was the one that had talent, not Wilbur. I think, I still want to call it Wilbur, so it must be Wilbur. I don't know. But the pig, was just there. He didn't want to get eaten, so the spider helped. So the spider was the one with the gift. There is like the card of holding on to your money for a rainy day. But there you have it on the chakras that reminds you money isn't everything. That spider didn't need money to make that. That spider just needed room and its own magical little web string thing to come down and say, hey, psst, enjoy life. Don't focus so much on money. Five of Pentacles is the card of being financially down on your luck, and you have the Mummy with the ghost right there, not knowing where to turn, all the snow and everything there in the background. But when you hit that bottom, when you feel like there's nowhere to turn, that's when you find the people that have been there too, your soul family that can help you get out of that situation. Six of Pentacles is the sharing is caring card, and you have that illustration right there, very orange and purple and Halloweeny and awesome. And sharing is caring. You share that light, not necessarily money, but you share that light with the world. You show others it's okay to share theirs as well. And the world can become a better, beautiful place. So awesome illustration there. Followed by the Witch of the Seven of Pentacles, having patience with the process. Patience as you work to grow those ideas and everything and not giving up. The Eight of Pentacles follows the Seven of Pentacles, and the illustration is right there. He's been at work so long that the spider web is now growing behind him. And that spider says, haha, I was faster at it than you were. And you have, I like that, just that dark attention to detail, even if your ideas are weird. The more you practice, the more you perfect, the more success you can find with it. The Nine of Pentacles is the card of the successful individual, and you see her there standing in her garden and reaping the fruits of all her labor. And this little bird right there is a skeleton, and she is the witch. I love that. I love that illustration right there. That might be my favorite, actually. The chariot still remains my favorite because it was the headless dude. Ten of Pentacles is the card of ancestors, the people that have come before you. And now I'll just tell you why one of the reasons I love Halloween so much and everything. My family part of my family came over in the early 19th century, I believe, so about the 1800s, and they came from Ireland. And I've always believed, I don't have any proof of this, and maybe I could look back in like ancestry.com or something, but I've always kind of believed that it was my family, at least the ones that came before it, at least part of my family, that brought Halloween over to America. I just think that's the coolest thing ever. Maybe that's why it flows through me so well, that I'm obsessed with it and love it and embrace it, because the ones that it came before me, the blood flowing through my veins, the card, Ten of Pentacles that represents that, just brought that love for it over here, and I just think that's so cool. But there is that illustration, you've got the little pumpkin spooky thing on his coat, you've got the pumpkin over here, They should have like made these like wolves or werewolves or something. That'd be cool, but still beautiful. And I love how so close to Rider-Waite-Smith it is, but just ever so weird. There is the Page of Pentacles, very focused on his pentacle and what he wants to achieve. The Knight of Pentacles is the soldier that puts in that hard work and effort, no matter how boring the work might be, holding that pentacle, still focused on it, with his pumpkin riding on the back. Cool illustration right there. Queen of Pentacles, her pumpkin or her pentacle has gotten bigger, and now there's a pumpkin jack-o'-lantern behind her. So like you've taken that pumpkin that was on the Knight of Pentacles butt, the butt of the horse right there, and he's made it into a jack-o'-lantern, so that, or a scarecrow jack-o'-lantern thing. So that is really cool. I love that. And then last but of course not least, King of Pentacles is right there. He's got the pumpkin right there. He's got all the fruits of his labor and everything, and he's very focused because he has made a name for himself, and he's got so much to appreciate in the fruits of his labor. So that is the Rider-Waite-Smith Halloween Edition deck, which is now officially available for your own reading if you are interested in that. And of course, I will also put an oracle deck from the Halloween, or an oracle card from the Halloween Oracle in your reading too if you're interested in that. But you know, like I said, these are decks that I am going to have with me when I do festivals and stuff like that, you know, because you want this kind of weird magical thing. And I love, again, the deck. The box is amazing. The box was not expected because they said cards only. And you know, you've got the box. So thank you, Matt Green, for creating this amazingly fun, whimsical, beautiful, creepy, wonderful deck for all of us to enjoy this time of year. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I mean, like I said, if it's available still, I will put a link in the description below of where you can purchase it for your own card slinging enjoyment. And it doesn't matter, like this oracle deck says as well, it's lifting the veil between the worlds every night. Just because these are Halloween edition decks, Halloween themed decks, does not mean you cannot use them any time of the year. Yeah, you'll probably still see me using these decks in the middle of December, in the middle of June. It doesn't matter to me because I freaking love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday. I love the energy of it, the spirits of it. My only complaint, again, is the lack of crows in either of these decks, honestly. Like, seriously, embrace the crow. The crow is awesome. Crows are everywhere. Like, even in Australia, you guys have magpies, and they're still corvids, so they're very much crows. Appreciate the crows, because they appreciate us, right? So these are the Rider-Waite-Smith, or what it's called, the RWS Halloween Tarot and the Halloween Oracle. Matt Green and Stacey DeMarco are two incredible artists that have shared their gifts with us, and I've shared them with you now. If you like what you see, like I said, I'll put a link in the description below where you can purchase both of these. I'll also put the links to those videos of like the top however many videos, however many decks for Halloween that I've done in the past too. As always, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again in the next one.